Hi.
Welcome back.
Sorry, I gotta clap to sync all these I got like 4 cameras going. Okay. Welcome to my presentation. So I guess I was gonna hold questions to the end, but I think I'd rather just have you guys ask questions as they come up. So if anything comes up, you can raise your hand. I guess we don't really raise our hand too much after high school, but I need all to raise your hands. So I can't tell if you're curious or not. So finding venues. This is where I like to start. Go out into the wild, right? What does that mean? So literally, when you are out and about, just like going about your day, and you see a place and you think, hey, maybe they'd have music, you can like hit them up. You can say, hey, would you be interested in having my band play here? I'm going to talk about how to do that too. So that's one of the ways though that you can find venues. Another way to find venues would be Google. Google's great. Anyone not know what Google is? Right on. So you could do it right now if you want. Go ahead, give it a try on your phones. Look up restaurants near me with live music. That's one option. And then additionally, they don't even have to have live music. You can just look through a bunch of restaurants and hit them up. At least that's how I got started. And by the way, this isn't going to be like the only way to do this. There's a lot of people doing a lot of things. And I don't even know a lot of people that are doing exactly what I'm doing. But I am going to tell you that this is something that worked for me, and it could work for you. And the last one, which I find to be the most successful in my experience, would be to hit up the places that your friends play at, with their permission, obviously, right? So people are always posting, hey, I got this gig coming up. It's going to be this day at this time. Put it in your calendar. Try to be there. Bring your instrument in a way that is like discreet, right? So if you want to sit in on the gig, that's totally cool. Like if you ever come to one of my gigs, I'm happy to have you sit in. I'm like a lot more lax than a lot of people. I've been told that it can be kind of tacky to like come and have your case like out, and it's like I'm only here to sit in because I'm gonna take this gig from you. It's not. I wouldn't take it that way, but like some people might take it that way. Depends on who it is. But yeah, come and bring your instrument and try to sit in if you can. Probably the person will invite you. They'll say, do you have your horn? And then, yeah, you can sit in. Yeah. So these are the 4 ways that I reach out to venues. Social media, which is like Facebook, Instagram, and I guess that's really maybe Threads. I keep getting notifications about Threads. That might be the way, but a lot of these venue owners are like older people anyway. I'm not even that old and I don't know what Threads is, so maybe don't hit up restaurants on Threads. Is that even it? It might be Treads. Anyway, yeah, you can call and ask for a manager too, or go in person. So I'm going to talk about the benefits to each of these. With social media and email, this is my absolute favorite one. When you email a place, you want to have a brief introduction, like incredibly brief. I've been given the advice, make sure that you say, this is everything I do, and I just love music, and I'm just on a journey to. They don't care about all that. They're so busy. They've got like a bunch of fires to put out. Probably. I mean, think about how busy you are right now, just with like your course load. And now someone wants to tell you about how like stoked they are in music. They don't have time for that. Hey, do you have music? I like that one because then it's not even like I'm trying to sell you something. I like to say, do you have music? And then they're like, oh, this is a potential customer. Yeah, we have music on this day. And then you hit them with the sale. Hey, that's great. I have a band. And then it's too late. They've already begun discussing with you. So that's when I like to mention that I would like to play at their establishment. And once you have begun a dialogue, I like to include one-click links. It's actually a piece of advice I got from, you all know Adam Larson? He toured with the jazz band, right? So Adam Larson has that advice in his book that they want to have one-click links, because if you have to click on something, I always visualize like they click on this link and then the page loads, and then like Instagram, it's like, hey, you have to log in first, check this out, and then someone's like, Bill, we need you over here right now. It's like they're not going to look at the clip now. They got to go do something else. You need to make it quick. Like get it to them as fast as possible. Assume that they have as little time as possible, and once they're interested, then I'll give them any information that they need. It's also a great way to do follow-ups, which I'll talk about. But yeah, once you have established a dialogue, it's a lot easier to follow up in organic ways. Like, hey, do you want links? Instead of just being like, hey, I'm just following up. Hey, did you ever get my link? Excuse me. I like to follow up with things that are meaningful. Yeah, so that's on social media, and some of that will apply to emails too. Oh, yeah, include places you've played around the area. I've actually had a lot of luck with this recently, because as you build your reputation, you can start to mention things you do and people you work with. So if I want to play at somewhere in Portsmouth, for example, because we're really close to Portsmouth, I live in Dover, so it works out really well. I'll say, hey, my band plays at Smutty Nose, we play at Cisco. These are names that I think are recognizable to other businesses in the area. The Press Room, they're kind of like, oh, well, if they play at the Press Room, they must be pretty good. And then this is a piece of advice given to me by Eric Claxton that was like, well, not only tell them about your gig if it's close by, but say, hey, come and check it out. It'll be awesome, and you'll love it, and then you'll want it at your establishment. Yeah, call and go in person. Ask for a manager, right? So I think in the beginning I had a lot of trouble because I'd call places, and like I said, everyone's like so busy, and as soon as you understand that, like the sooner you can actually get some work done. But when you call and you say, hi, can I speak with the person that books the live music? Oh, that's Erica. I think her name actually was Erica, which is funny because I haven't played at this particular place in a long time. But they're like, oh, that's Erica, but she's not in until Wednesday. I can take down information for you. This is a trap. They take that piece of paper and they throw it away. They do nothing with that paper. I'm just gonna be completely honest with you. I swear to God, that's what they do with it. They'll tell you, they'll give you the, oh yeah, she'll be on. Oh, we love you. Yeah, I bet you guys sound awesome. Oh, I love jazz music. Yeah, I'll be sure to give it to her. Forgotten immediately. So much going on. So don't leave it up to them to remember to get you. You gotta hit them up. Hey, when is she back in? Don't worry about being annoying. That'll be a big theme later on. I never worry about being annoying. I'm not worried about being annoying right now. Can you tell? So when you reach out, hey, she's not in, but she'll be in later. Okay, cool. That's okay. I'll just call back then. Call back. Even if she's still not there. Hey, okay, she's not in yet. That's fine. When is she in tomorrow? Is she in tomorrow? Don't worry about being annoying. Also, if you haven't even given your name yet, they can't even be worried or be like, oh, that guy's really annoying. I mean, maybe they'll recognize your voice, but there's so many places to hit up. This is only one of 50 places that you might have hit up on a given day, so there's no need to get too emotionally attached to not annoying these people, in my opinion. Like I said, this is just what I do, but I mean it works because I don't have a real job. I'm just playing music. It's awesome. Yeah, don't give them your info. Consider being prepared to show recordings. Yeah, exactly, right? If I'm playing jazz music, so I'm sometimes even prepared to go in with a CD. Not really. I can just show them the recording on my phone, but I think you used to try to have a CD ready to go in and be like, this is my album. Live recordings are a lot better, though, actually. You might think, oh, we got in the studio, we recorded this amazing, overly produced album. That doesn't really tell, and this is a piece of advice I got from the people that book at Cisco. They can't tell how good your band is. Actually, you can hide a lot of stuff in the studio, or so I've been told. So it's better to just have a recording on your phone, because they're not super interested in the musicality of it. They're like, oh, are people having fun? If they can see that people are having fun, they're sold. It's this is great. I want to have this at my establishment. There's some niche stuff too. I have a band that plays video game music, and one guy was like, oh, this is so awesome. We play this song from a game called Celeste, and he was like, oh, I love that game. We'll definitely have you guys in. And I actually had to follow up because I haven't heard back from him. Question?
How do you go about recording a live?
It can be as simple as setting up your phone. I mean, kind of like what I'm doing with all these guys all throughout the room. I set up my phone. You also, this isn't really your question, but on the topic of not wasting time, recording a small clip is a lot better than the whole performance, and then you send them this hour-long thing, and they open, they're like, damn, I gotta have an hour now to look at all this. I don't have that time. I like to just have a 30-second clip. You could even put together a highlight reel, but really just setting up a smartphone can be great. I think most smartphones do a pretty good job nowadays. And it's really easy for you from a productivity standpoint to just pop that thing online and just get over with. Yeah, does that answer your question? Yeah. Amazing. Okay, cool. Yeah, don't be afraid to raise your hands. Or even just be like, hey, you're going really fast. I love talking about this, and I don't get to talk about this enough. It's something that I actually feel like I understand. Yeah. Social media is the most efficient. You can get responses in a less formal way, which can alleviate some stress involved for business owners when responding to emails, right? So, with an email, it's oh, hey, hope you're doing well, blah, 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 blah. Best, Andrew. I hate all that. hey, can my group play? Try to keep it quick. And if they can keep it quick, that's better for them too. Facebook is the best because of Messenger. Even if you end up needing to email, there is often a better email to reach out to than the one you'd find on a website. So websites will have like, email Jen at pressroom.com about inquiries, and then maybe you hit them on Facebook and they're like, hey, that's an old link, here's who will actually get you back. Or here's my cell phone. And once they do that, it's kind of hairy because you don't want to bother them on their personal device, but I don't know, they're kind of asking for it if they're going to give it to you, I guess. Facebook rewards businesses for getting back to you quickly. There's like this metric on Facebook that'll be like, this business responds immediately. So I really like to respond on there at like a good time, which would be, time frame. Try to reach out to venues when you think they wouldn't be busy. The beginning of a shift on a slow day is usually what I aim for. On Facebook, there is a metric that attests to how quickly businesses respond to messages. So it is of interest to them to respond quickly to maintain a good reputation in that way. That said, I think it is good to consider that if an urge to hit up venues strikes late at night, I am often one to ride the wave of, I need to get my life together to motivate myself to book gigs. So many times I'll just be like, I don't even know what I'm doing next month. And I'll wake up and I'll like schedule all these texts to go out in the morning. Maybe not the most like, it's not like, it doesn't seem super streamlined, but it works for me. You could even be like, okay, every Monday at 3 o'clock I will hit up 20 venues. I don't know. Yeah, follow up. After hitting up venues, I wait 3 to 7 days to follow up, right? So follow up is more important than reaching out. I'm going to say that again. Following up is way more important than reaching out, right? Because if you had to pick between reaching out to new venues or following up with venues you've already reached out to, choose following up. Some venues don't even respond until they've received a fair amount of follow-ups. You don't have to stop following up until you receive a rejection. I have only been told that I was bothering someone once since I have started doing this. Patty B's in Dover. No one will remember how polite you were when you reached out to them about the gig. They'll either give you the gig or forget about you. Remember this. Yeah, no one's like, oh, he was so polite. We're not going to have him, but he was so nice when he hit us up and then we didn't get back to him. That doesn't even make sense. They're just going to forget about you. Do you have a question? Did I see Ray?
Oh, yeah, I was just going to ask, because it says like you intentionally like leave stuff out, like what are some of the information, because like I'm thinking like in an initial message you might send like a recording of like you playing or something, like what else might you send like in the follow-up?
Yeah, so the first message might literally just be like, hey, I'm interested in playing here, do you have music? And then the second one, might include a one-click link to a recording, maybe days that you're available. Sometimes just being like, hey, I'd love to play can be a little overwhelming. Sometimes sending a date, not that it even matters. You could just be like, hey, do you want music on Friday? Oh, no way, our band on Friday just canceled. Yeah, like that'd be awesome. And maybe that's happened. I don't really remember. Probably I'd remember, so probably that hasn't happened. But sometimes sending a date is like, oh no, we can't do that day, but you know what, how about this date? Like, something like that can kind of just like push them in the right direction. Yeah. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Amazing. All right. Cool. Yeah. No one remembers how polite you were when you accepted rejection. They're just going to be like, they forget about you, which is like, now you're at square one again. I really don't mind. I don't think anyone is going around telling people that I'm annoying for hitting them up. Maybe. If that does happen, let me know. I'm very curious. All right. And yeah, also like, these are my go-tos. When I've sent everything I could possibly send, hey, just following up. Hey, just circling back. Hey, just checking in. Any updates? Oh, word. Okay, cool. So these long history with CR's restaurant in Hampton, New Hampshire. Maybe I'll send in this presentation. Hi, Chuck. My name is Andrew Manuel, and I have a jazz group interested in playing at CR's. I saw that you have a vacancy on January 13th, and I was hoping to help out with that if you need someone. See, check it out. They have like the dates listed on the website, and it said like, to be determined. And like, to the general public, that's like, oh wow, how exciting. They're going to put an act together, and they're going to play in the corner of this little restaurant. No, they just like had, everyone that they usually have was not available. So I found that vacancy and I hit them up. Here are some recordings of our group that demonstrates our group in a few configurations. Now I know now that they were only hiring duos. They would hire a trio, but it does not pay enough, and so I will only play duo. And nowadays, sometimes I'll offer to play solo, which gets a little hairy, but then it's good because you're practicing like time field, but we're not here to talk about musicianship. Unless anyone asks about musicianship. Let me know if you have any questions. I look forward to hearing back. Best, Andrew. I was so looking forward to hearing back. Hi, Chuck. Just checking in. There it is. To see if you have any interest in having my group in June or May. So also look at like the date between these, right? I hit him up in January. He didn't get back to me, right? Now, a rookie might say, oh, hey, I guess he didn't want me. I guess he read this email, thought about it, and decided no. No, he just either forgot about it or was busy. I read that in the wrong order, actually, so these are going to go up, down and up. I'm wondering if you got a chance to look over my recordings. See, that was my first follow-up, which happened like 2 weeks later. I see you guys haven't booked anything for February yet, and I have several dates available. I also have every Tuesday, Friday, and Sunday available for all of March. Thanks for your time. I look forward to hearing back. See, I was so excited to hear back from this guy. And then obviously my follow-up there, which has even more dates. And then another one, it's like, dude, you're really gonna, it's not like dating, you know, like you're not supposed to like triple text someone. They're probably not interested. They might actually not be interested. Probably they aren't. Sorry to break it to you. I'm sorry that you had to find that out like this. This is different because we're trying to get money from these people, not intimacy and or fulfillment. Not that anyone owes you intimacy and fulfillment. Anyway, just checking in to see if there are any openings. Let me know. Oh no. Wow. All right. Well, that might be done. Yeah, that was my cue to not be talking about that stuff. Anyway, hopefully one of these is still getting me. All right. Oh, he did respond. Okay, I forgot. So yeah, he finally responded the day after. I will let you know, Andrew, in the next week or so if there are any opportunities to crack our lineup. Thanks, Chuck. And I said, thanks. I look forward to hearing from you. And then I never heard from him, so I followed up again. Hi, Chuck. Just wanted to let you know my group is playing a brunch at Wentworth by the Sea Sunday, right? So at this point now I'm like trying different strategies. Now I'm like, okay, well, if he's not just going to have me, he probably just thinks I'm some random guy. I'm going to tell him that I play at the, what's a word for something that's good? Wentworth by the Sea? I don't know. It's a nice hotel, and I was playing there. Bougie. It's a bougie hotel. It's great. Look at that place. Wow. Right? So I'm like, if I tell him that I play here, I might get his attention. It actually worked. Thanks for the heads up, Andrew. I'll make it over there this weekend, or if I do, I will introduce myself. Right? So. Oh, what's that? Excellent. Thanks so much, Chuck. Hi, Chuck. Sorry if we missed you. It was very busy. We got asked back for Sunday, so if you didn't make it out, definitely come by if you have some time. Now, this is a little stretch of the truth. I think at this point I had been booked there every Sunday. I think it was in the contract that I would be there every Sunday. But I was like, well, let's paint this narrative, right? We show up, we play. Oh, wow, this is a product worth paying for. So I told Chuck that. I also knew for a fact that he wasn't there. I guess I didn't. I didn't know what he looked like at this point, but I was pretty sure he didn't come. I figured he'd come and say it to me, but I was like, hey man, sorry, it was so busy. It was so awesome. Thanks for the invite, Andrew. I will make it if I can. I invited him to something else, and then I said I was looking forward to seeing him. And then the one was so much for coming back. And boom, the sale. My group has all those dates available. Or no, he offered us some dates. Are you able to play at CR's on August 9th, 16th, or something else? And then because I'm greedy, I was like, I'll take literally all of those. And he's like, dude, take it. We just want you on one. But yeah. And so now I play there once a month. And I won't talk about how I feel about that gig anymore. But it is a great gig for meeting people because with jazz you can hire anyone. Although I don't know if they want 2 saxophones or a saxophone. So Mikey, we should play there soon. You're on the next one. Yeah. Mikey has played there with me. It's fun, right? It's a good vibe. Yeah, great way to practice too. And then there's I had another story. In the interest of time, I might skip over it. We played at 3 Chimneys once. Basically, I went in person with 2 of my friends, and they were like, they clearly don't want to have us. And I was like, well, really? Well, let's see that calendar. When can you guys have us in? And then we did end up playing there, even though we weren't sure that they were even into it. Right, so who to call? It's getting away from, I have some more examples actually of follow. This is just a really long one. I'm gonna skip over this one. But basically I was in the emails with this guy, and then you can see look at all these emails. And every time he's not only is he hey, I just got your email. He's sorry they didn't get to it. He's just busy. Like, these people can sometimes even appreciate the follow-ups. They're like, oh, it's great that you followed up so much because I'm like really busy. I even have some like, and this actually sucks, but I have some like private lesson students where the parents are like, hey, can you just hit me up like 3 times every week to like schedule something? And that doesn't really make sense for me right now, but I'm still doing it. But this one's crazy, right? Because we had like emails, then he gave me his number, and then through his number, he gave me like someone else's email, and then I emailed her, and then we booked the gig. Yeah. And then for this master class, Nate's really busy. Not right now because he's with us, and that's great. And don't worry, there's not anything in here that we're very, very professional. But yeah, I followed up with Nate a bunch, and I got him for a gig so that I could like talk to him about this on the gig. We played at a bar together. I thought it was really fun. I don't know if he had a good time, but amazing. Well, there it is. You heard it from the horse's mouth. Yeah. Who to call? Yeah, all right. My band, Clandestine. You all know about Clandestine? If not, it's whatever. It's not like the most like amazing thing in the world, but it's something that I really enjoy, which is amazing for me. I have learned to prioritize calling people that will give me gigs. Clandestine is a 4-piece instrumental pop/funk/jazz group with a rotating cast of characters. Jazz ensembles can be comprised of whomever you call to play the gig. If you are a classical musician, call people that are good and that will know your rep, right? Any questions about that before I move on? Yeah.
I don't want this to take too much time.
No, it's all good.
I did a wedding gig, jazz wedding gig.
Yeah.
A couple months ago. And it made me realize.
Real quick, so as he's telling me this, I'm like, oh, he plays weddings. Maybe I'll ask him to play with me and get connected. And be like, hey, next wedding, maybe he'll ask me to play. Seriously, that's like literally what I'm thinking. Keep going.
It was for a jazz trio.
Yeah.
And it kind of landed in my lap. That's why I did. But
Amazing.
I realized, hey, I could do this again.
Yeah.
Just because it like went well. Everyone
Yep.
was like raving about it. And I thought of you because I know you have like a lot of rotating musicians in your band.
Yeah.
But I don't know quite how to sell that because I feel like it's weird to be like, yeah, I can like put together a trio. Not I have a trio of the same.
You do have a trio. You have a trio. Do you know a bass player?
Wait.
Do you know a bass player? Do you know someone that plays the bass?
Right.
Do you know where I'm going with
Why
this?
don't you just say I have a trio?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. They don't know anything, dude.
Yeah.
You have a trio. You guys have been playing for years. You met at UNH. You make such great music together. I didn't even get to put this into the presentation. There are so many things to talk about, and I kept thinking of stuff, but I'm glad you asked that question. I book gigs before anyone is available. Sometimes it gets extremely stressful because I really didn't realize that everyone was booked October 5th. Oh my God, but I'll deal with that later. So, you know what I mean? Like, I'll accept the gig, and then I will put the band together. If they want recordings, send them a recording. It doesn't even matter if, like, when you get there, it's like, oh, you're not the guy from the recording. There are, like, whole companies that do this. This is, like, the wedding company that I play with. They've run into issues, which is great because I'm not a band leader, so I don't deal with it when it's them. But they get there, and it's like, hey, I thought you had, like, the female drummer, you know? Where's she at? And it's like, we didn't even know. They'll be like, oh, you played our wedding. Like, couples in the thing will be like, you played our wedding. Do you remember us? And we're just like, yeah. Even more so, like, we get an email before the gig. Hey, when you get there and you meet literally everyone that day, do not say, hey, nice to meet you. Say, dude, good to see you again. You know, like, they don't know that you've never played before.
So, what do you say when they ask you about the how's the bass player play, or who is he, or
Does that happen?
It did happen, yeah. They were, but maybe that's why I'm still.
That's like rare. That's incredibly rare. But if they ask you about if they ask you the bass player, it's like, what do they ask you about the bass player?
She was just like,
Mike, you're listening, right, Mike?
She was like, man, I don't know too much about jazz, but I want to make sure, like, I'm sure you know what you're doing, but I want to make sure you know what you're doing. Like, we've done this before, and I was like, yeah, I've played the Army Band and JUH combos, and then
Do they know that you're like in college, like in your undergrad?
Right, and I said that, and that made her a little nervous too.
Yeah, so, you can do that, but is it necessary to mention that you're in your undergrad? I don't think so. Dude, there are like high schoolers right now that play gigs. I'm trying to I have these high schoolers that I've been offering gigs to because I think that I want them to think of me when they put stuff together. You know, like there's like the Real Deal Jazz Combo. They're playing like Y'all know about these cats? Dude, yeah, so like, there's like this bass player and like a guitar player who was taking lessons with me for a little bit there. And yeah, I started calling them both for gigs because I'm like, you know guys, like, I might seem like crusty and old, but I will do gigs. Like, it doesn't have to be like your friends that you did like Jazz All-State with. Like, I do gigs. So like, I try, like literally, people that do gigs, like, you meet them and then hopefully they'll reciprocate and they'll give you gigs. But, you know, you don't have to, like, I doubt they're telling people, oh, by the way, we're in high school and we're kind of bad, you know, like, which is not the case. They sound great. But, you know, that's just information that I don't think you need to share with them. And they're like a grown adults that, like, are just not killing it. And then they play and everyone loves it, you know. I wouldn't be worried about making sure that they have adequate expectations. I think they just hear, like, Fly Me to the Moon and they're like, wow, this is just like the 20s. Yeah. But yeah, I hope that answers your question. Yeah, priorities. Horn players and vocalists often act as band leaders. High school band directors want clinicians and private lessons instructors. Connect with people that play well-paid gigs. You played a wedding. Let's talk after this. Right. Horn players and vocalists are often band leaders. Band directors are also great if you would like educational opportunities at their schools. I am currently calling the band director at Dover as often as I can so that I can play an event with the Dover High School and boost the experiences on my resume. All right, so I've played like 5 gigs with Jim Butka in the past month, and he's like, oh, we got this event in February. It's called Jazz and Desserts. Sometimes we have Sharon Jones come, but I don't know who we're going to get this year. And I'm like, oh man, what night is it? Hey, I'm free that night. Let's talk about that. But instead of like hitting him up every day and being like, hey Jim, can I play for that? Hey Jim, can I play for that? Hey dude, do you want to play at this place? And I'll give you like $200 and we'll play for 2 hours and there's free food and we can talk about it. It's like a business meeting that you're getting paid to put on. It's awesome. I think that makes sense. I don't know. Get these people involved with your gigs when you can, and if they aren't already calling you. Ah, yes. I called another saxophonist by the name of Brad Aiken. You all know Brad Aiken? Anyone know Brad Aiken? Yeah, I love that guy. To play with me on one of my gigs recently, and at the same gig, he offered to add me to one of his gigs the next day. Brad also helped me out with getting high-paid wedding gigs, so I think of him fondly, and he is at the top of my mind whenever I have the opportunity to call another saxophone player. Top of mind is like a really important expression, right? You want to be at the top of everyone's mind. Like, you know, I'm sorry, I keep name dropping, but this is relevant, especially since we're talking about getting gigs in New Hampshire. Do you guys know Charlie Jennison? Dude, like anyone is going to be like, you need a saxophone player. Oh, I bet Charlie Jennison to do that. And then then I need to be like, okay, well, how do I get Charlie to think of me when he can't do it because he's already been offered like 10 gigs that day? Charlie plays piano, so I asked Charlie to play piano gigs with me. And one time he even apologized to me after I got him like 10 gigs. Like, hey man, sorry I haven't gotten you any work yet. And this is like when I was in college, and I was like, I didn't even realize that I was owed an apology. But yeah, that's great, man. Give me some gigs. I like to reciprocate. You might even consider taking a portion of your pay and giving it to someone to make the gig more worth their while, right? So, I mean, I've even done this. I'm doing this quick plug for my gig on October 11th. So I'm going to try to start playing in New York at some point here. And in order to get connected in New York, you meet New York musicians. But instead of DMing New York musicians and being like, hey, I know you know like 100 saxophone players, but trust me, I'm the coolest. Like, that's stupid. I hit up this guy and I was like, dude, I'll give you $600. Come play in Portsmouth with me on October 11th. It'll be awesome. And he agreed to do it. And you all should come to that because he's killing. His name is Burnell Jones II. And that's going to be an amazing gig. I'm really excited for that. Press room. 9 p.m. Rhythm section people don't often act as band leaders, but I remember the few that have called me for gigs, right? Jared Garno, Alex Manasian, Anthony LaPetrie. Those people have all called me for gigs, even though they're rhythm section people. And so I love those people, and I try to pass them some work when I can. Oh, and Mikey got me for that UNH gig that one time. That was awesome. Thanks for that, dude. Playing with your friends is awesome, but if y'all are already in the same network together, you are wasting a network opportunity by calling them for a gig. Remember that we were talking about working, not creative projects. So yeah, it's like, oh man, this is a song about my hometown, and I'm going to play in a band with all my high school friends. Like, that's really sweet and meaningful. And I'm not crapping on that, but like, if you're trying to get as much work as possible, right, and you're at a point where you only play like 2 gigs a month, every gig is a chance to meet new people. So I really am trying to hit up people that are going to like be already getting gigs Which is why for clandestine it kind of makes sense to get like an additional horn player, because then they're like, oh, you sound good, let's like play again. Or for a jazz group, a jazz quartet can be drums, bass, saxophone, and trumpet, or like 2 saxophones, which is like, oh, he's so obnoxious, he just loves the saxophone so much. But no, I'm just trying to get other horn players to bring me into their world. I met everyone I know on the scene, and sorry, Nate in advance, from calling them after being made aware of them through word of mouth. I know people, Nate knows people, Claxton knows people. Everyone in the department either knows someone, right? So this music department, everyone in the department either knows someone or knows someone that knows someone. I try not to bother people without having given them work, but you're paying tuition to go to this college. Get these people to hook you up, right? So, email professors, hey, do you know someone that does this? Can I get this person? And they'll help you find people. That, on the topic, right, if I put a band together, right, and I only know 2 bass players, and both bass players are busy, bass players can be really hard to find. But anyone around here can tell you about bass players. I'll help you. If anyone doesn't know who I am, hi, I'm Andrew, and you can email me or text me, and I'll try to help. I'll try to help you find bass players. I met everyone I know on the scene from calling them, some people are very receptive to helping you with larger opportunities, but finding those people involves an element of uncertainty that I find unnecessary. If someone seems too busy to help you, offer them work and discuss with them on the gig. Hey, I heard you play with this company. How did you get involved? I know, insert name here. And they called me. Oh, cool, what do they play? Call them for a gig if you can. Hook them up with students if someone asks. Money talks, right? If someone hits me up, I have like a bunch of I'm teaching students, right? So parents, hey, do you know anyone that teaches this instrument? My first thought is, man, who's given me some students that I should try to get back? I'm not just going to be like, oh, this guy is like the best drum player in the world and he should be teaching this person. I'm going to try to find someone that's like, help me out, and then I'll help them out. You can also try to check out the creative projects of the people that have gigs that you want. Be present on the scene. If you want to play with someone, chances are you'd like their music anyway. Right. So, keep a list of musicians on your phone or wherever you keep your records. Organize it by instrument and keep track of the kinds of gigs you can call each person for and the best way to reach them. Email, DMs, text. I don't do any of that because I'm pretty weird about it. I just remember how these people like to be contacted, and a lot of them are just jazz musicians, so it's they can kind of do whatever I want them to do. But yeah, like this guy's awesome. He also plays piano, and I know if I needed to put together a group that needed like a 3-piece with horns, so I know I could call him for that. Yeah. This guy is giving me so many weddings, and so I should hit him up. But he also, I know he lives in Vermont, and so it doesn't really make sense to be like, hey, do you want to come and play in New Hampshire for $10? Because there's gas and all that. Yeah, this is my list though. It's pretty extensive. And then, why is it going down? Yeah, even more. You see any of your professors on here? I love playing with professors. So we talk about teaching lessons, and I can vent about students that don't practice. Details and scheduling considerations. All right. Details. Andrew and the details, right? So that's a funny story that I'm going to not actually tell right now. But the short of it is that actually it's in here, so I am going to tell you guys a little bit about it. I used to work with a guy that would hit me up and say, hey, you avail October 18th? Or something like that. This is extremely annoying. If you are a working musician, you want to know the details of any gig before you accept it. I find it particularly annoying when money isn't mentioned, but if you have a good rapport with the person reaching out to you or the person you are reaching out to, you can give details at your own discretion. I will hit up Lily Kavanaugh and say, hey, do you have a gig on Saturday? I actually don't know if this annoys her, and maybe I should ask. But yeah. It is particularly advantageous to know the time frames of gigs in the event that you are trying to play multiple gigs in a day, or if you have other scheduling conflicts. I have lessons, and my whole studio knows that I book their lessons around what parts of New England I am on any given day. Sure, we're in the right spot before I keep yapping. Yeah, protect your Saturdays. Let people involved know if there's going to be any rehearsal. We'll talk about that in a second. Yeah. Time frames. Hold on, sorry. Yeah, Saturdays are really easy to book. A lot of places have music on those days. If you get offered a low-paying gig on a Saturday after you've developed somewhat of a reputation, you might consider the likelihood that you will get called for something better. It is somewhat of a gamble. Jazz musicians can work, this is unrelated, so real quick on the topic of that, right? Sometimes I'll try to leave a Saturday open, and I'll get offered like a bunch of things that are just not quite what I'm looking for monetarily. And then the Saturday comes, and no one hit me up for a wedding, and that's a bummer. But people might even hit you up day of, which is why, if you are at a point where you want to play that game, it's great. It's, I don't know. Also, it's like, it might be nice to just like live a normal Saturday life in the event that I don't get hit up and need to run off to like Cape Cod to play a wedding. Jazz musicians can find work on Sundays easily because a lot of places will have jazz brunch. Even if they've never had music before, most places consider it. I've been hit up by so many places. I'm like, hey, do you want jazz music? Oh, well, we don't have like a brunch, and it's like, well, we can play it, and people would still like it without like breakfast items. If you would like to rehearse for the gig, be upfront about that when you reach out to people. If someone offers me a gig and it doesn't pay well enough for me to rehearse, and I wasn't made aware of the fact that there could be a rehearsal, it is hard for me to get involved. Now I have to find a way to not rehearse without losing the gig. A lot of time I am genuinely too busy to rehearse with all of the work that I am doing, and like I said, I would really like to reclaim my social life here and there and just be able to like hang out. Next on here. Any questions so far? I feel like I'm talking really fast. Ah, yes. You know what I'm about to say. Let me just find that part. I once heard someone say that a gig should have 2 of 3 things before you take it. Good pay, good hang, and good music. If the gig has fewer than 2 of those things, don't take it. I would take a gig for great pay even if the other 2 factors weren't there, but you can decide for yourself, obviously. I currently charge $70 an hour for private lessons, which helps me put the time commitment of gigs into perspective, although I do travel a lot for those. If travel time to and from the gig and gas make it so I'm making less than $70 an hour, I think longer before I take the gig. You can also account for wear and tear on your vehicle too, and carbon emissions, if you care about that, which you should. You should care about that, it's important. If you are offered a gig on a day that you are already playing, there are a lot of things to consider. While you shouldn't take a last-minute gig when you are already committed to someone, it can be really hard to say no when you are offered $500 on a day where you were only planning on making $50. You can consider asking the band leader, but there's no hard and fast rule for when it is appropriate. It is at your discretion. One time I turned down a gig playing jazz trio, 2 hours for $300 to hang out with my girlfriend, and we still broke up. I still think about this often and regret it. Yeah, ouch. Another time, I'm so mad about that. Another time I swapped out a gig with the band leader's permission. He said that he was cool with it, and he hasn't called me since. And this was 2 years ago, and I still think about it. There's no way to know if he hasn't called me because he's mad at me, but it's probably fine. I don't know. Conversely, don't be afraid to play for free. If you truly believe that sitting in with a group for free could lead to more gigs, and you think you'll have a fun time, do it. I used to feel guilty when I would play for free because I saw it as undercutting other musicians. But with each performance, you increase your experience and versatility, which improves the product that you are trying to sell. Lily Kavanaugh used to just sit in with my band, and now she is the first person I call when I am in need of a sub on drums, which is often. Trey Finkelstein came and sat in with us when he was in high school, so I try to recommend him stuff when I can, although he's already too busy, which is great. Busy trumpeter. If you can play, you get called, I play with a band called the Trichomes, and I have done it. I've done a lot of free rehearsals with them, which a lot of people don't recommend. Playing with them has gotten me gigs, travel opportunities, connections with the network of jam bands, which are groups I never thought I'd play with when I was just studying jazz. I even had opportunities like that in college, and I was like, this sucks. I just want to play bebop. These experiences, although I kind of play bebop in that group now. These experiences have shaped my product. I also got to record on their album, which was a great experience. I think it's called like Ode de Longo, if you want to check that out. Playing alto, which is something that I should not do. But whatever, I probably shouldn't play bassoon either. And where was I yesterday? Paying, standard rate. As far as I know, there isn't a standard rate that musicians are owed on gigs. When I was in college, I was told legends of a great bass player from Boston that would play any gig for $50. I imagine that if that is truly the case, he must never be available anymore. He probably has a gig booked every night for the next 5 years. Pause for laughter. I mean, is that even possible that like he's playing every night and he's just making like? Cause driving from Boston even is like the gig that only pays like $20, and probably someone offered you. I don't know. I just don't think that was real, but. Yeah, I don't know. When I hire musicians, I try to make sure everyone gets at least 50 for an hour, 75 for 2 hours, 100 for 3 hours, and 125 for 4 hours. This is variable, however. Private events pay a lot more. If the gig happens on an off night, like a Tuesday, then I am more flexible with this. The Soggy Po Boys play at the press room every Tuesday, and regardless of what they get paid, they're able to book that with minimal potential scheduling conflicts, right? So no one's going to be like, hey, we have someone celebrating their birthday on a Tuesday, I want to give you $1 million. Can you come play it? And then Stu's like, I can't, we're playing at the press room. Like, that's not going to happen. So yeah, and use the gig as a rehearsal, right? So even if they weren't getting paid, you know, they can still use the gig to practice. And practicing in front of people can be great too, because then there's that like added pressure and you're still a little more focused. How many rehearsals you ended up at where no one prepared, but if it's a gig, then you got to be prepared a little bit. And they also pass around a tip jar, which is awesome. That probably helps too. I always try to let the venue make the first offer in terms of like the payment amount, right? So these are like, I try to get everyone at least this, but it's not like if they're like, hey, we can give everyone $100. I'm not going to be like, well, we're only playing for an hour each, so we'll do it for 50 each. That doesn't make sense. Yeah, I try to let the venue make the first offer in terms of payment amount. I usually ask for a little more after I've been offered an amount, unless I find the initial offer to be very good. Some people get offended when you ask for more, but I don't let that bother me anymore. If a venue or booking agent doesn't understand the hustle, they'll likely be unpleasant to work with anyway. And at that point, you don't want to be working with unsatisfactory pay, right? So if you had to like really beg them to get the pay up anyway, you're probably going to run into a situation where you get in there and they're like, you've been paused, and Mike remembers this one too. We took a break. I'm not going to talk about this place, but it's closer to where I used to live. And he'd be like, yeah, you guys have been on break for like 10 minutes. Let's get back to it. I'm paying you guys good money. And he wasn't. And then he would talk about us in the kitchen. Oh, musicians have been on break for like 10 minutes. I mean, come on. And then he'd come over to us and he'd be like, you know, man, when I was doing music for a living, because everyone that's working in the kitchen probably has some sort of artistic endeavor that they gave up on. I hope he's not watching this. Then like, he didn't want us to be, it's weird because he hired us, but he didn't want us to be successful or happy. He's like, when I used to play, we didn't take any breaks. And it's like, dude, it's not my fault that you didn't like master like the negotiation part. You know, standard break, you should be getting like, for every hour you should take a 15-minute break. And I do play with some bands where it gets hairy. They don't give me the breaks that I desire. And that can be kind of frustrating. But if the hang is really good, you kind of let it go. But like if we're, even in my band where I feel like we're having a great time, like we'll play at like bars and I think it's really obvious that we're having like an awesome time. But I don't know that for sure. So I let everyone take a break after an hour. And then if we want to play again, let's like book another gig. Like we don't have to like play every minute. I just played like a wedding with this band. I don't know. He didn't take like, any breaks for like the 3 hours. He's like, you didn't want to lose the dance floor. And it's like, dude, that was like a lot. That was exhausting. And I don't know. Anyway, that sucked. Give people breaks. You know, if you want to play more, create more opportunities on other days with even more money. That's just how I feel about it. Yeah. And there's I couldn't think of there's like a paradox for like the less someone pays you, the more they want out of you, which is just a gross place to be. I forget what it's called. It's not like the freelance paradox. It's something. Yeah. Yeah, and if you're satisfied with what they offer to pay you, you can still ask for more. Like, go for it. You can negotiate with band leaders too sometimes, but this can get really hairy. I had a close friend ask me for a little more money to play a gig at a bar in town when I asked him to sub for me, and I told him I couldn't do that. And I'm not going to tell you who that is. I don't get offended because I get it, and I think people shouldn't be afraid to ask for more money. Musicians are already notoriously underpaid for their services, and it is crazy to me that someone that wants to support the arts would get offended when someone asks for more money. But that is a variable that you have to deal with. The best advice I have is to not take it personally and know that someone that would get offended probably isn't the kind of person you want to work with anyway. So I don't know, if it's like a bar in town and everyone's getting $100, it's kind of weird to be like, well, can I have like $200? It's like, no. But I'm not going to be like, here he asked for $200. Never going to call him again. Also in the Seacoast, there's not like a lot of people. So, you know, it doesn't really benefit me to like hold a grudge and call someone that's like way less qualified and way less fun to play with just to be like, yeah, well, this is because you asked for more money. It did happen to me. I asked a band leader for more money. Well, no, he was a booking agent. I think he plays, but I don't know. And he was like, I texted him, I was like, hey, can I get a little more? It was like a holiday. And then he didn't get back to me, and then I followed up. And then he was like, yeah, dude, you're an in-grade. You should be grateful for what I give you. And then hit up all my friends and asked them if they'd be willing to do the gig without me, which is so weird. But whatever. See, like, you don't want to be working with people like that. That's weird. I used to do it, and I'm so grateful that I don't have to do that anymore. I'm just going to take this moment to, wow, that's awesome. Woo! If you don't want to do the gig that you were offered, say no with a price. I got asked to do a DJ sax gig this year, and I don't really enjoy doing it. I'm starting to like it, but in the beginning it was kind of weird. Do you know what DJ saxophone is? Oh my god. I'm not going to like demonstrate because I don't have my saxophone. It's back there, but I don't want to go get it, and I don't want to do it anyway. But someone, like, say there's like a DJ right here, and he plays some music, and he's like, doing his thing, and then you're like, you gotta like dance with the people, like you gotta get out there. I'll say if anyone wants to see the video, I was like laying on the floor, like spinning in circles, like doing all that. It's not music, but like it's fun, and it's not like it makes me worse at jazz every time I do something that's just fun for normal people. I used to really think that like if I did like a GB gig and I like played pop music, like Kristen McBride was gonna like be like, yo, Andrew Manuel's blacklisted. We'll make sure if he ever gets to New York, he's not playing in smalls. Like that's not what it is.
Can I jump in, Andrew?
Yeah, absolutely.
To this is so funny. Like I like to think of non-musicians. I call them civilians. Right?
Yes.
So my in-laws are notorious civilians, right? And they went to a casino and saw a show, and the saxophone player, they're like, "You should have seen this saxophone player." And I get this laughing because they're not in music. He was amazing, and I'm like, cool, what did he play? And they're like, it's not what he played. He was up on the tables, and he was like going from table to table and dancing and doing all this stuff, and Dave Cosby makes his whole living with how he moves the saxophone.
Yeah,
I mean, he played on a whole show, and you're like, so a lot of civilians want what ends the strapping, and the thing is a lot of them have deep pockets and they're willing to pay for it. So if you're willing to do this type of work, there's a venue to be had, so it's just another line of revenue.
Yeah.
So anyway, just wanted to bring that. But civilians are hilarious.
Yeah, it's great. And you let it be fun, let it be fun. Learn the music enough so that you can have fun with it. See if you can play like line 5 of John Coltrane's solo on Countdown over like Wasn't Me. See if it works. If it doesn't, at least you got like the technique, you're practicing playing it in time. Like, I don't know, treat it like a practice session. Make it fun. Yeah. I do get on tables now. It's crazy. Never thought I'd do that. And I still feel like I play okay. Yeah. Pay negotiation. Am I forgetting anything? I love that though. Yeah, yes. I mean, you guys are all like saxophone majors, but like some of these people, and I try not to like let it go to my head. And I bet if you heard a clip of that guy, it'd be like the worst sounding saxophone. You remember like pinching that mouthpiece, just like.
Immediately hit the bar left,
Yeah. You all know that Van Morrison solo on Days Like This? Check that out. That's a saxophone sound. Anyway, how to keep the gig. If Van Morrison ever knows that I was talking bad on his name, he will not have me in his band. That's bad. This part is like, this is crazy, man. I did like a training session. So I play with this band called the Silver Arrow Band, and I did like a training session with them because I wanted to like show that I care and that I want to get better at like learning these lines and playing stuff. And Tyson Jackson, the drummer, he's like talking to all these kids, and I'm just like there in my like late 20s, like hearing Tyson be like, show up on time to the gig, leave early because of traffic. And it's like, yeah, like duh. But then like I don't know, sometimes you play with younger kids that it's just, I guess it's not that obvious to them. But yeah, get to the gig with varying degrees of timeliness. Being very early makes a good impression. In order to be timely, try to account for traffic. When you play around NH, things don't really change too much, but if you're going through a big city, traffic can change a lot. I had an experience recently where I was like, I planned on like getting to the gig early, because this is another thing you can do, right? If the gig's at 5, you can get there at 2 and do Zoom lessons in your car, if you're me. And I do that. Respond to emails, get gigs, hit up venues. Don't be like, well, my time is valuable. I'm going to get there with 5 minutes to downbeat because I don't deserve to have to get there 3 hours early. Make it make sense, You can practice in your car. Alto fits in the car. I do it all the time. You can play flute behind the driver's wheel. Like, not while driving, but like, you can play flute in your car while you're waiting for sound check or something. I don't know. Get there early. Yeah, I do my Zoom lessons in my car. Sometimes, not all the time. Make sure you have the correct address. I have a friend that ended up in Portsmouth, Rhode Island, when the gig was in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. He did not get to that gig, and I don't know if he plays with that company anymore. Dress appropriately. Oh man, I have a treat for you guys. A lot of people wear a button-up and pants by default. I usually ask the band leader what to wear. Some people seem to get annoyed at this. Dude, I played with a band where I was like, what do I wear? And he was like, a dress. And it's like, dude, I just don't want to. And then I showed up and I was like, everyone was clearly in black and white strip. And I had my plaid pants. I looked like an idiot. And it's like, is that my fault? But whatever. I'm not mad about it anymore. Some people seem to get annoyed about this, but I think it is important to know how to dress. Even weddings can vary from gig to gig. Suit and tie strict, coat and tie optional. I played one that said furry animals, and then no one else dressed like furry animals. And I'm going to show you guys that in a second. And I think that's why I still get to play with that band, because I think that really stood out to them that I was just willing to drive to the end of the earth for them and not even question it. Complete blinders on. No questions about that. Good. If you are going to be too busy on a given day to make it to the gig within 30 to 15 minutes of downbeat, roughly, be upfront with the band leader and be in touch with them the day of the gig if possible. No texting and driving, obviously, but give a call. And the calls are kind of weird, but at least if they, that's tough because if they see you call, they're like, is something wrong? But maybe they'll call you back. Just give them a call if you think it's going to be, if there's traffic. Don't just hope that you'll get there, right? Put yourself in the shoes of the person that hired you. If the gig was booked months ago and they haven't heard from you at all that day, pardon me, there is no confirmation that you didn't forget about the gig. You don't have a reputation yet. No one knows that you've never missed a gig before, right? If I'm on my way to a gig, I know the band is I got this guy from someone that knew someone who had a cousin who you know what I mean? They might be like, oh crap, but he's not going to show up. They don't know. They don't know that you've never missed a gig. Learn the music. That one's obvious, right? Learn the music. Be prepared. Sometimes it's hard to learn exactly what people want, but put your best foot forward and then, help pack up before you leave. Horn players and vocalists can be terrible about this. Try to learn how to wrap cables and take apart PAs with permission from whoever did sound on the gig. I played with this one band where I realized that I get to leave earlier if I learn how to actually do stuff instead of just standing around and waiting. So I wrap my cables. I get the PA off the thing, sometimes it's all the way up there, and then say, can you help me take that down? It's kind of annoying, but if you remember how to do it, you can do it on your own next time. Get permission though. I think some people are really particular about their sound equipment, which makes sense. If I'm understanding correctly, the sound equipment is kind of expensive. Yeah, hang out if possible. Talk to people. Don't be afraid to network, but also be observant of the vibe, right? If if everyone's trying to pack up, that's fine. It's probably 3 a.m. We probably just finished now. I got to drive back to New Hampshire from Connecticut, so I'm down to pack up and get out of there. If no one's hanging out, but if you're playing at a bar, maybe try to talk to them. But if they seem not interested in talking to you, don't force it. And don't be hey man, if you ever need someone, that's annoying. If you played well and were fun to be around, they'll remember you. If you didn't play well enough for them to remember you, call them for a gig. And if you can, practice. If you aren't fun to be around, work on that. I don't know. Y'all know about therapy? I don't know if that can help, but I feel like my therapist told me some stuff. Yeah. That's it. Yes. Oh man, I hope this works. Okay. Wait, it's not. There's no sound. We're playing. I think it was Give It To Me, Baby by Rick James, and I was just jamming on it, and then.
That's what I'm talking about.
And he just showed everyone else there.
Wait, is that your furry animal? Is it Sonic?
It's Sonic, dude.
Does it count?
Yeah, dude, I love Sonic. What are you talking about? He's so furry.
Character.
Dude, but I'm in a furry costume, kind of.
You're not a hedgehog, are you? You're Sonic.
Yeah, Sonic is a hedgehog, is he not? You don't need to know that much about the lore to know that he's a hedgehog, bro. I don't really want to say it. Versatile. Dress like Sonic if the occasion calls for it. A lot of you young saxophonists don't know that you gotta dress like Sonic sometimes. Despicable. Don't put yourself into a box. I used to think that I was just a jazz musician and that every other genre was a waste of my time. On my first wedding gig in a horn section, the trumpet and the trombone players shredded way harder than me on their solos, which I found to be very informed by jazz. And they knew all the horn lines to all of the wedding music that I thought was so beneath me. I really thought that being a jazz snob would work to my advantage. That meme where the one that I saw was all these people at a party and there's this one dude in the corner and he's they don't know that I ate a whole rotisserie chicken before this. And then like everyone's like, dude, it smells like chicken in here. Like I'm like literally like sitting on the bandstand like missing like the like lines to like Valerie, and I'm like, yeah, but they don't know that like I can play like giant steps at like 300 BPM. They have no idea that I'm that killing. Like that doesn't matter. They'd be like, yo, the saxophone player was weird and like he just stood there like this the whole time. They don't. So learn the music. I am personally looking for someone who can take my place in clandestine when I do other gigs. Y'all play saxophone. Y'all play like pop melodies on saxophone. I need someone who can play pop melodies on a wind instrument or who is able to sing with a band without needing to rehearse. I prioritize my students when I can. I just gave a ton of work to one of my guitar students because he played really well in his lessons and I knew that he would do a good job on the gig. I would love to work with any of you if I can. I'm sorry, no drummers. Why did I? Oh, I can't give any drummers lessons. I mean, I can, but we'd just be sitting there talking about literally anything else. If you ask for lessons or offer me gigs, I think of you more often when I am looking for musicians to play gigs with me. And we're almost at our closing remarks. As a matter of fact, we are at our closing remarks, and then I'll let you get on with your day. I'm just going to try to get through this. One of the reasons I was so eager to give this presentation is because when I was at UNH, I watched a similar presentation that changed my life. The skills that are required to become a working musician are so different from those that require you to be a creative one. In Adam Larson's book, Practical Stuff for Survival, which I highly recommend picking up, he suggests setting aside an hour every day for working on your business in the same way that you would practice making music. I myself have a routine that I get into where I run through different parts of my practice schedule and then reply to inquiries or send out inquiries between different parts of practice. Like, for example, I'll play a lick in 12 keys, follow up with 10 venues, transcribe a solo for 15 minutes, like hit up more venues. And I don't know, like maybe you gotta focus, but that kind of just works really well for me. Especially if you're like in like one like really hard key and you keep like messing up the same thing. Sometimes like putting the saxophone down and like hitting an email and then going back to it and then you play it and you're like, why do I always do this to myself? So I like that. Especially if it's like E major. I have learned so many things in my past 7 years on the scene, and at the point I am at in writing the script, I don't even know if I had time to share them all. Amazing, I did almost. A lot of people will tell you that you can't do it. Be careful whose advice you listen to. People speak from a place of ignorance a lot of the time, as there is a lot of mystery surrounding how to play music for a living. While it isn't completely common to be able to do what I do, I am fairly confident that anyone can do what I do if they practice enough and take creating opportunities seriously. A lot of people think you have to take every gig you are offered as a freelance musician, and some of them suck. People will say playing weddings sucks, or birthday parties, or corporate events. Clients mistreat musicians and undervalue their product. The music you have to play can be boring. I have experienced some bad gigs for sure, but I feel so fortunate to get to play in my instrument that I never let any of the bad experiences bother me for too long. A lot of situations where the music didn't feel fun was due to a lack of adequate preparation. I think any gig can be fun if you are prepared and have adequate expectations. If you show up and expect the client to treat you poorly, they still can't take the love of music away from you. There is a degree of luck involved, but the more you work on your product by way of practicing, learning required materials, and meeting a lot of people and forming meaningful connections with them, the more you increase your odds of getting lucky. Have a good one, y'all. I know we probably got other stuff to do, but if anyone has any questions.
But we have to make it through to the class outside.
Oh, God.
But